So I still really haven't figured out what to call this whole vlog, whatever kind of shtick I'm doing right now. But I figured I want to kind of upload about once a week, so I'm going to start doing that. Today we're going to talk about a hobby of mine that's made me spend way too much money on things I didn't need. I'm not actually talking about video game collecting for once. I'm talking about Dungeons and Dragons. Um, Not particularly 5th edition, but I started probably in high school, or not, it wasn't even high school, it was middle school. Like, my second year of middle school with a friend of mine I just made that year, and he talked about it, and I had never really done anything with Dungeons and Dragons. I'd always like watched cartoons like fantasy and such. Like, I want to say the old Lord of the Rings cartoon, but that wasn't it. I mean, I can't even think of the cartoons I watched, but things like dragons, knights, all that really entertained me. And so this is probably gonna sound awful. We had a teacher who decided that we needed to do a we were reading the, I think we were reading like the Diary of Anne Frank or something, and we had this weird project. It was just kind of an obtuse thing where she's like, you have to do one of these like 3 or 4 things, and one of them was spend, I think, 6 hours in like 6 to 4 hours in like a basement or something with no electronics, no cell phones, none of that. Not even a basement, but a room in the dark, and then talk about the experience, like what went through your head. So me and my friend basically took it upon ourselves. We can do that. That's easy. What are we gonna do for those hours? Are we just gonna bullshit? Or are we gonna nap? Like, let's play Dungeons and Dragons. I was like, I know nothing about the game. I've always heard it was sitting deep. And so I went over to his house. We made up my first character, who we just made total bullshit. He was like 40 levels or something. I was like, it's a weird, terrible experience that I have fond memories of. Of, just going over to his house, sitting in a basement for like half a night after eating fried chicken, and doing this random like little no bullshit, or no nonsense, not no bullshit quest, dealing with drow, and I don't know. Ever since then, I've been kind of hooked. I mean, that was. I know there's not like a lot of detail there. You'll have to forgive me. It's been 15 years, which is horrifying to me because that's that long ago. But well, it's been like 12, whatever. I'm being whatever. I need to focus on what I'm actually talking about. Um, but yeah, and I mean that was my first kind of toe dip into the thing, and I was like, I didn't quite get it. Um, there wasn't a whole lot of structure or anything to it, and my character is just like, okay, I can just kind of do everything. All right, it was kind of boring, honestly. In a way that I'm enthralled, yet I'm just okay. And then in high school, I think freshman or sophomore, I I got back together with some old friends from like elementary school and shit, and we ended up, the one was, his family was into Dungeons and Dragons like hardcore, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to come over and play?" Sure. I got my first real set of dice, which are, I've had these forever. These just red numbered, blue and white speckle. You ain't gonna get a good look at them, I don't think. But went over there. They were running Temple of Elemental Evil, um, and I made a thief, and I don't remember exactly what his name was or anything like that. I'm sure it was some very weeby ass name. But I do remember things like climbing up this wall and jumping off of it and stabbing a giant spider in the back and falling down with it. I remember checking for traps. I remember getting to make the character and them having all these choices of languages and they were just scrolling through. Like, they had some character making sheet thing set up on their computer. I mean, this is years ago, so none of this Roll20 like nice actual character sheets. This was second edition even, because I had some second edition stuff and I got rid of it recently, but I had no clue what I was doing. This was especially different because I had started with 3.0 and ended up. What did we end up doing? We did that. We started going through the dungeon. And I think we made it through like one of the first parts of a dungeon or something. But back to the language thing that I brought up. The only reason it's kind of important to me is because of what I remember the character for. Is because one of the language choices was Dolphin. And you best believe I fucking took Dolphin. And we made it through. We got through this whole dungeon. I think our final like little encounter was like a troll or something. I want to say that I remember trying to slide underneath him, like in between his legs, and just got slathered in something. But we made it through, and the person at the end of the tunnel granted us each one wish. And I don't think we really thought of it as like the wish spell where you can just ask for anything. And I sarcastically just, I wish I had a dolphin. Lo and behold, she gives me basically, if you've ever read Legend of Drizzt, he has an Onyx Panther named Guinevere that he can summon at will for so many hours. Called a figurine of like wondrous power or something like that. She gave me one of the dolphin. Now, due to some circumstances, I wasn't allowed to hang out with that friend afterwards. There was some stuff that happened I'm not going to get into. But at least to say that apparently they puppeteered my character because they needed him. And they did the best that they could. And the dolphin came in handy of getting everyone money that we needed. So everything worked out pretty well, honestly. And you can tell like this is how old this is by dating it back to when Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged started, because I remember giving the thief the greatest voice of all, of Tristan Taylor. But yeah, I guess that's kind of my jumping in point on Dungeons and Dragons. Other than that, I mean, I've played under a couple of DMs, which I will talk about eventually, which are not great stories. I've DM'd most of the time. I ended up being in the hobby because we just kind of fell out of terms with certain DMs, and my group just like, all right, you know what, I'll do it. I'll take on the job. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for this video. I think I'm probably going to put these up as P-Switch talks. I mean, I've got probably a list of about 20 videos planned out. I'm hoping to at least do once a week, if not hopefully twice a week. And I definitely would love ideas of things people might want to listen to me talk about. I've been told I have a very odd view on things, so I don't know. Maybe a weird perspective is what some people need on certain things. I know one of the videos I have planned right now is I've never read Lovecraft, and I've got a little bit new reading material, and it'll be my first impressions of H.P. Lovecraft's writing. Other than that, I think that's it. I hope you folks have a lovely day.